Welcome, dear friend. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to join me today. Right now, I invite you to pause everything and settle into the space we're about to share. Let go of the rush of thoughts and the weight of the world for just a moment. As you breathe in deeply with me, feel the air filling your lungs, cool, gentle, and soothing. Hold it there for a moment and then slowly exhale, releasing any tension that might still be lingering in your body. Let's do that again. One more slow, mindful breath in, and as you breathe out, feel your body sink deeper into relaxation, allowing the peace of this moment to fill you completely. Make yourself comfortable. Adjust your pillow or blanket, and let your body rest deeply against the bed or chair. Allow yourself to fully relax, to just be in this moment. There is nothing you need to do here, only to be present, only to experience this journey. Before we settle in, feel free to like and subscribe only if this space brings you peace. And if you'd like, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is where you are. It's always wonderful to know that we're all connecting across the world, sharing in this moment together. Life has a way of pulling us in many directions, doesn't it? The responsibilities, the endless tasks, the worries about what's to come. It's easy to feel as if we're constantly fighting to keep up, constantly swimming against the current. But here in this space, we are not fighting. We are letting go. For just this moment, we are allowing ourselves to release the grip of worry, to stop trying to control everything, and instead to simply trust. Now imagine what it would feel like if you didn't have to worry. What if for once you could release all that mental clutter and allow life to just flow as it is meant to? That's what we'll explore together today. The power of surrendering worry and finding peace in the natural flow of life. I promise. As we journey together, you will uncover insights that could shift how you view every challenge, every moment. You'll learn how to move with the current of life rather than fighting against it. Take a moment now to reflect. How often do you let worry consume your energy? How often do you find yourself trying to control outcomes, obsessing over the unknown, or ruminating on past mistakes? What would it feel like to stop that struggle? What if, just for today, you let go of the need to control everything and allowed life to unfold naturally? As you continue listening, I invite you to open your heart to the profound wisdom of Zen teachings. This journey will guide you towards a space of deep inner peace that doesn't come from trying harder, but from trusting more. We will explore the art of releasing control, of allowing life to find its own flow, and in doing so, we'll unlock a path to serenity and joy. Remember, you are not alone on this path. Together, we will walk through these teachings gently, letting go of the things that weigh us down and reconnecting with the stillness and wisdom that are always available to us. Let's begin, and as we do, allow your mind to stay open and calm, ready to receive the insights that will help you stop worrying so that you can finally feel life finding its flow. Imagine for a moment a tiny seed resting deep in the earth. It is so small, so seemingly insignificant, but within that tiny seed is the potential to become something much larger, a tree strong and towering. Given the right conditions, nourishment, care time, it can break through the soil and stretch toward the sun. Over time, its roots dig deep into the earth, and its branches reach high above, perhaps even touching the sky. It has the potential to become a magnificent force in nature. However, here is where the lesson lies. If that seed is planted in soil filled with fear, what grows is not peace, not serenity, not calm, but anxiety and worry. the soil in which we plant the seeds of our mind determines what grows. The seed itself may be small, but the soil, the mental space in which it grows, is crucial. If the soil is filled with fear, the seed will not sprout as peace, but as a tree of anxiety. In Buddhism, fear is often compared to a seed. It begins as a tiny thought or fleeting sensation, something so small you may not even notice it at first. It's the fear of what could happen, the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure. These are all small, seemingly insignificant fears that we may think of as inconsequential. But here's the thing: when we give them our attention, when we water them with our focus, our energy, and our worry, that seed begins to grow. Slowly, imperceptibly, at first, it begins to take root in our minds. And once it has taken root, it begins to spread. It wraps itself around our thoughts, our decisions, and our actions. It expands and grows often beyond our conscious awareness until it becomes a towering tree of fear. This is not something that happens overnight. Fear grows subtly. It starts with a small worry, a thought that you might dismiss in the moment. Perhaps it's a thought about the future, a worry about what may go wrong, an anxiety about something you can't control. At first, it doesn't seem like much, but over time, as you continue to dwell on it, that worry deepens. It becomes an obsession. You begin to feed it with your thoughts, your emotions, and your fears. And before you know it, that tiny seed has grown into a tree, one that casts a shadow over your life, limiting your experiences and your ability to feel peace. Let me share with you an ancient Zen story that beautifully illustrates this powerful concept. There was once a monk who lived in a small village by the edge of a dense forest. This monk was known throughout the village for his calm demeanor, his peace of mind, and his unwavering ability to remain centered amidst the chaos of life. His presence alone was a source of comfort to those who sought guidance. One day, a weary traveler arrived at the village looking distraught and filled with anxiety. The traveler approached the monk, sat down at his feet, and began to speak in a voice filled with distress. "Master," he said, "I am constantly filled with fear. I fear what the future holds. I fear what might happen next. I fear the choices I've made, and I can't seem to find peace anywhere. What should I do?" The monk looked at the traveler with gentle eyes, his expression full of compassion. After a moment of silence, he replied, "You are like a man who has planted a seed of fear in the soil of his heart. Every day you water that seed with your worries, your doubts, and your anxieties. And in return, it grows into a tree of fear, casting a shadow over your life. What you must do is stop watering it." The traveler looked confused. "But how do I stop?" he asked. "How do I silence this fear that grips my heart?" The monk, still with that calm and gentle smile, gestured toward the forest in the distance and said, "You do not need to fight the tree. You need to stop feeding it. Instead of focusing on what could happen, what might go wrong, turn your attention to the present moment. Let your breath, your awareness, and your calmness be the sunlight that nourishes peace, not fear." The traveler sat in silence, deeply moved by the monk's words. He realized that his fear had not come from the world around him, but from the thoughts he allowed to grow inside him. It wasn't the external world that caused him to feel afraid. It was his own perception, his own mental focus that had been feeding the seed of fear in his heart. It was his constant dwelling on possible outcomes and uncertainties that had allowed his fear to take root and grow. As the traveler left the monk, he made a quiet promise to himself he would no longer let fear have such power over him. he would no longer water the seed of fear. Instead, he would focus on the present moment, on what was right in front of him, and allow peace to grow in the space left by the fear he had once nurtured. This story, though simple, carries a profound lesson. The seed of fear grows only when we choose to nourish it. It thrives when we focus on what might go wrong, when we anticipate the worst, and when we let our minds dwell on the what-ifs of life. But when we stop feeding it, when we stop watering it with our anxieties, our thoughts, and our worries, it begins to wither away. In your own life, have you ever noticed how fear creeps in almost unnoticed at first? It might start with a small thought about the future. What if something goes wrong? What if I don't succeed? What if I lose something important? These thoughts seem so harmless at first. We dismiss them as part of life, as natural worries. But when we continue to focus on them, they begin to grow just like that seed in the soil. And before we know it, fear takes over, shaping our thoughts and actions, limiting our ability to find peace. But here's the good news: you have the power to stop it. You have the power to notice when fear begins to take root, and in that moment, choose not to feed it. You can decide right here and now to focus on what is real and present. When you stop feeding fear with your thoughts, it loses its power over you. You become free to experience peace, to live in the present, and to release the worries that no longer serve you. Take a deep breath with me now. Feel the air filling your lungs, and as you exhale, imagine releasing all the fear and anxiety that you may be holding on to. Picture it floating away, dissipating like a cloud, leaving space for calmness to settle into your mind and body. Let this practice be something you return to whenever fear arises. You have the power to choose what you nourish, what you allow to take root within you. Ask yourself now, what seed are you watering today? Is it a seed of peace, of love, of calm, or is it a seed of fear, doubt, and worry? The choice is yours, and it's a choice you can make every moment of every day. Each time fear arises, remember that you don't have to let it grow. You can let it go. Focus on the present. Focus on your breath. Focus on peace. As we continue on this journey together, I invite you to carry this awareness with you. Every time you notice fear creeping in, gently remind yourself that you have the power to stop feeding it. Let peace take its place. Let calmness blossom where fear once tried to grow. And now let's take a deep, mindful breath together, releasing any lingering tension or anxiety. With each breath, feel the presence of peace growing within you, and know that you are the gardener of your own heart. Next, we will explore another profound lesson: how true strength is found not in control, but in surrender. Let's take a moment to reflect on something that may seem counterintuitive at first. In our modern lives, we are constantly told that strength comes from control. We're taught that to succeed, to feel secure, we must take charge of everything: our circumstances, our emotions, our outcomes. We are told to push harder, plan more, strive relentlessly, and never under any circumstances let go. This belief is deeply ingrained in us from childhood to adulthood. Success, power, and security seem to come from gripping life tightly in our hands, controlling it with everything we have. But what if I told you that true strength doesn't come from controlling every detail, from trying to micromanage the world around you, but from surrendering to the natural flow of life? What if the power you've been seeking all along is found not in holding on, but in letting go? In Buddhism, this concept of surrender is not about giving up, being passive, or disengaging from life's challenges. No surrender in this context means recognizing that you are not in control of everything, and yet it is in this very realization that true freedom and strength emerge. When you stop fighting life, you begin to flow with it. You become a part of its natural rhythm, and in this place of surrender, you find an inner strength you may not have known existed. I want to share with you a Zen story that beautifully captures this paradoxical lesson. There was once a young monk who, despite his best efforts, struggled to find peace. He approached his master one day, troubled and frustrated. "Master," he said, "I try so hard to control my thoughts. I try to push away distractions to hold on to calmness and peace, but it keeps slipping away. I feel like I can never fully find peace. Why is this so?" The master, wise and unhurried, motioned for the monk to follow him. They walked together through the village, leaving the bustling noises behind, until they reached the edge of a fast-flowing river. The master paused, looking out over the water, and then gently said, "Look at the river. It is alive, always moving, always flowing. It does not try to control its course. The water does not fight against the rocks. It flows around them. The river does not try to rush forward, nor does it cling to the past. It simply moves with the current. The river knows its place in the grand scheme of things." The monk was still puzzled, his mind searching for an answer. "But Master, how can I live like the river? How can I surrender to life's flow when everything in me is telling me to fight to control? If I just let go, how will I ever find peace?" The master smiled gently, his eyes full of understanding. "True strength is found in surrender," he said. "When you stop trying to control, when you stop forcing life to bend to your will, you will find that life flows with you, not against you. Like the river, you must learn to move with the current, not struggle against it. You are part of life's flow, not separate from it." The young monk stood in silence, absorbing the weight of his master's words. He had been so focused on trying to control his peace, to hold on to calmness, to make it work. In doing so, he was only creating more resistance. The true peace the master was teaching him could only come when he stopped fighting, when he stopped grasping so tightly at something that was always meant to flow. The lesson here is simple, yet it carries a profound truth. True strength comes not from holding on, but from letting go. We often try to control our lives, our emotions, our circumstances, our relationships, because we believe that control will provide security, peace, and safety. But the more we try to control everything, the more we create resistance. The more we resist, the more stressed, anxious, and disconnected we feel from the natural rhythm of life. Now I want to ask you, how often do you find yourself trying to control everything around you? Do you try to control your emotions, your relationships, your work, your future? Do you find yourself clinging to something from the past or pushing against something in the present, believing that if you just try harder, if you just hold on a little longer, things will finally turn out the way you want them to? Here's the truth, my friend. The tighter you grip, the more life slips through your fingers. The more you try to hold on to control, the more your energy is drained. And what does this lead to? Stress, frustration, exhaustion. The very peace you seek slips further and further away. The harder you try to control it, the more elusive it becomes. Take a deep breath with me now. Inhale deeply, and as you do, feel the tension in your body. Maybe it's in your shoulders, in your chest, in your jaw. Now as you exhale, imagine releasing the need to control. Let go of the desire to control the moment. to force things to go the way you think they should. As you let go, feel your body soften. Feel the weight lift from your shoulders. Feel the tightness in your chest ease. Let your breath, your presence be enough. This, my friend, is the practice of surrender. It's not about giving up or doing nothing. It's about recognizing that there is a natural rhythm to life. And when you surrender to it, you open yourself to the flow of peace, calm, and wisdom. Like the river, you learn to move with life, not against it. You stop struggling, you stop fighting. You let go, and in doing so, you find strength. Now think about your daily life. Where are you trying to control things? Perhaps you're overthinking something, trying to make everything perfect, worried about what might happen in the future. Maybe you're struggling with a relationship, trying to make things work the way you want them to. When you notice this, take a step back and gently remind yourself to surrender. Take a deep breath, relax, allow things to unfold naturally, trusting that by letting go, you create space for the right things to flow into your life. The more you practice surrender, the more peace you will experience. The more you trust the flow of life, the more supported you will feel. And in that space of surrender, you will find a strength unlike anything you have experienced. It's the strength of knowing that you are part of something much larger, much wiser than yourself. It's the strength of letting go, of moving with life's current instead of against it. Let's take a moment now to breathe deeply together. With each breath, release the need to control. Let life flow around you with you. And as you do, feel the strength that comes from surrender, the peace that arises from letting go. As we continue our journey, we will explore another powerful lesson, the incredible power of living in the present moment and how it frees us from the grip of anxiety and worry. We've all heard the phrase, live in the moment, but what does that really mean? How often do we truly inhabit the present, unburdened by the weight of past regrets or the relentless anxiety about the future? It's easy to say, but much harder to practice. Our minds are often like restless rivers, constantly flowing from one thought to the next, from one worry to another. We may dwell on things that happened yesterday, replaying old mistakes or regrets, or we may become consumed with anxiety about what might happen tomorrow, stressing over things that haven't even occurred yet. This constant mental chatter keeps us trapped in a cycle of worry, preventing us from truly experiencing the peace that is always available to us right here, right now. We are so often caught in this cycle. We long for peace, but it feels just out of reach. We chase after it, looking for it in things, in achievements, in future promises, but it always seems like something we can't quite grasp. And yet there is a simple, profound truth that we often overlook. Peace is found in the present moment. It is in the here and now. Peace does not live in the past or in the future. The present moment is the only moment that is real, the only moment that we truly have. And yet we often miss it because we are too busy living in a time that has already passed or one that hasn't arrived yet. Peace is not something to be sought outside of ourselves, and it is certainly not a future goal. Peace is here right within us, in the stillness of this very moment. Let me share a Zen story that beautifully illustrates the power of being fully present and experiencing life exactly as it is. There was a young monk who had been studying under his master for many years. He was diligent, hardworking, and committed to his practice. He meditated daily, sought wisdom, and followed all the teachings. Yet despite all his efforts, he often felt restless. There was an underlying sense of unease, as if something were missing, something he could not grasp. One day, in a moment of frustration, the young monk approached his master and said, "Master, I have been meditating for years, seeking enlightenment, and yet I still feel uneasy. I can never seem to find peace. I do not know what I am missing. What am I doing wrong?" The master, with his usual quiet and steady wisdom, smiled softly. Without speaking a word, he motioned for the young monk to follow him. Together they walked through the monastery and out into a beautiful, quiet garden behind the temple. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, and the air was fresh with the scent of blooming flowers. The master stopped beside a flower in full bloom and asked, "What do you see?" The young monk, still searching for answers, looked at the flower and replied, "I see a flower, master." The master nodded gently, then asked, "Yes, you see a flower, but do you truly see it? Do you see it without judgment, without expectations? Do you see it as it is without comparing it to other flowers or wishing for it to be something else?" The young monk paused. For the first time, he stopped looking at the flower with the eyes of comparison or expectation. He simply observed it. The master continued, "The flower does not think about the past. It doesn't worry about how long it will bloom or when its petals will fall. It simply is. It is fully alive in this moment. And in its aliveness, it is free." In that moment, the young monk understood. He had been so focused on reaching some distant goal, on the pursuit of enlightenment, that he had missed the beauty of the present moment. He had been living his life in the future, always chasing something ahead of him, rather than appreciating the here and now, which was where peace had always been waiting for him. The master's words echoed in his mind. The flower is free, because it simply is. It does not grasp, it does not hold on. It lives fully in the present. This story carries a profound lesson that is simple, but deeply transformative. To be present is to be free. We are constantly searching for peace, happiness, and fulfillment, but we often miss it because we are not fully present in the moment. We are either clinging to the past, reliving past regrets, or obsessing over what may or may not happen in the future. And in doing so, we miss the beauty of the present moment, the only moment in which true peace resides. Now I want to ask you, how often do you find yourself lost in thoughts about the past or consumed by the anxiety of what might happen in the future? How many times today have you checked your phone, glanced at the clock, or thought about what you need to do next? How many times have you thought about what has already happened or what might come, and in doing so lost the experience of what is happening right now? We do this unconsciously all the time. The truth is, we cannot change the past. It is already gone, it is already unfolded. And the future, it hasn't come yet. We have no control over it. The only moment that truly exists is the present, and the present is all we need to find peace. Take a deep breath with me now. As you breathe in, feel the air filling your lungs. This breath is life entering your body in the here and now. Hold it for a moment. And now as you exhale, release all the distractions. Release the thoughts of what happened earlier today or what you think will happen tomorrow. With each breath, feel yourself coming back to this moment. Focus on the present. Feel the air on your skin, the subtle sounds around you, the steady rhythm of your breath. This moment is all that exists. This moment is where peace lives. In your daily life, I invite you to practice this awareness. Notice when your mind begins to drift, when you start to dwell on past mistakes or fear the future. Gently guide your attention back to the present moment. Take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground, the earth supporting you. Feel the stillness of this moment. This is where peace lives. This is where you can find freedom. Freedom from the worries of the past and the anxieties of the future. And the more you practice this, the more you will realize that peace is not something to chase after. It is already here within you, waiting to be experienced right in the present moment. Remember, this peace is not something you seek outside of yourself. It is within you, always present, waiting to be discovered in the here and now. Let's take another deep breath together. As you exhale, let go of any lingering worries or distractions. Let them float away like clouds drifting in the sky. Trust that in this moment you are enough. You are whole. You are at peace. Now, as we continue on this journey, we will explore another powerful lesson: how imagined fears and worries often create barriers to our peace, and how we can free ourselves from them. But before we move on, let us take a moment to reflect on the peace that is already within us, already here in the present moment. Let's take a moment and reflect on something that weighs heavily on all of us from time to time: the fear of what might happen. Have you ever found yourself paralyzed by anxiety over something that hasn't even happened yet? Perhaps you've spent hours or days stressing over a potential outcome, imagining worst-case scenarios that are nothing more than illusions in your mind. These imagined fears, thoughts of a future that doesn't exist, can create an incredibly heavy burden, preventing us from fully experiencing the present moment. They rob us of the peace that is always available to us in the now, right where we are. In Buddhism, there is a powerful teaching about the nature of fear. Fear, like all thoughts, originates in the mind. But here's the catch: it's not often based on reality. More often than not, fear arises from our perception of what might be, what could happen. It's an illusion, a projection of our imagination, an internal shadow that looms over us, carrying no substance, no real foundation. Yet despite the fact that these fears are imagined, they can feel incredibly real and profoundly affect our well-being. They can distort our reality, paralyze our actions, and prevent us from experiencing peace. Let me share a story that beautifully illustrates this concept. A young monk, still in the early stages of his training, had a habit of worrying about everything. He would often lie awake at night, his mind consumed by thoughts of the future, about his duties, about what might happen, about how he could possibly meet all the expectations placed upon him. His heart was heavy with anxiety. One evening, in a moment of frustration, he approached his master and said, "Master, I am constantly consumed by fear. I fear that I won't be good enough. I fear what the future holds, the unknown. How can I find peace when I am so full of fear?" The master listened carefully, his face a picture of understanding. He did not rush to offer a solution, but instead, after a pause, smiled gently and said, "Come with me." They walked together to the edge of the temple grounds, where a large, peaceful pond lay still under the fading light of day. The master pointed to the calm water and asked, "What do you see?" The monk gazed at the water, the surface smooth and undisturbed. He saw only a tranquil pond. "I see the water, master," he replied. The master nodded. Then, with a knowing look in his eyes, he asked, "What would happen if I threw a stone into the water?" The monk, having seen this before, answered, "The stone would disturb the surface, creating ripples that spread across the pond." "Exactly," the master said. "Now let me ask you this. What if the stone had never been thrown? Would the ripples have existed?" The monk paused for a moment, his mind processing the question. Then, with sudden clarity, he answered, "No, master. The ripples would not exist unless the stone is thrown. They don't appear on their own." The master smiled and said, "This is how it is with your fears. They are like the ripples in the water. They arise only when you throw the stone, when you throw thoughts of the future into your mind, thoughts about what could happen, what might go wrong. But just like the ripples, they don't exist until you create them. Once you throw the stone, the ripples disturb the calm of your mind. But if you stop throwing stones, if you stop feeding these thoughts, then the ripples will fade and the water will return to stillness. The young monk stood silently, deeply moved by the master's words. He had been allowing his mind to throw stones of fear into the still waters of his heart. He had been creating ripples of anxiety, worry, and doubt. But the truth was clear. These fears, these anxieties were nothing more than imagined disturbances, ripples that could fade away if he simply stopped feeding them. This story is simple, yet its truth is profound. Most of the fears we experience are imagined. They arise from thoughts we project about the future, about things that haven't happened yet. And just like the ripples in the pond, they grow only because we continue to throw stones of worry, doubt, and anxiety into the water of our minds. When we stop feeding these fears, when we stop imagining what might happen, the ripples of fear dissipate and the stillness of our minds returns. Now, I want to ask you, how often do you create ripples of fear in your own life? How often do you find yourself imagining worst-case scenarios, stressing over things that may never even happen? How many times have you lost your peace over something that in the end never came to pass? This is the nature of fear. It is not rooted in reality, but in imagination. Fear distorts our perception of what is true. We project our anxieties onto the future, imagining all the things that could go wrong, and in doing so, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. But when we recognize that these fears are simply projections of our mind ripples, created by thoughts that have no substance, we can begin to free ourselves from them. Take a moment now and reflect on this. What fears are you holding on to right now? What imagined scenarios are you creating in your mind that haven't happened yet? How much energy are you giving to thoughts that may never come to fruition? Take a deep breath and bring yourself into this moment. With each inhale, feel the air filling your lungs. With each exhale, release any fears or worries that have been holding on to your mind. Let them dissolve into the air like ripples fading away on the surface of a calm pond. Peace is not disturbed by imagined fears. It is disturbed only when we choose to give those fears energy. When we stop feeding them, when we stop throwing stones into the water of our mind, we allow peace to return. Calmness, stillness, and clarity will once again fill the space where those ripples once were. In your daily life, take notice of when you begin to create these imagined fears. Recognize the moment when a fear arises, a worry about the future, a potential disaster, an outcome that hasn't happened yet. When you notice this, gently remind yourself you do not have to feed this thought. You do not have to allow this fear to disturb your peace. Breathe, let go, and allow the surface of your mind to return to its natural stillness. The more you practice this awareness, the more you will notice how much mental energy you've been giving to fears that don't actually exist. You will start to see how many of your worries are simply projections of your mind. When you stop feeding those projections, you will find that peace becomes a constant companion, no longer something you need to chase after, but something you can cultivate in the present moment. As we continue on our journey together, we will explore another powerful lesson: how to transform these imagined fears into opportunities for growth, and how we can embrace the present moment, free from anxiety and worry, as we learn to live in harmony with uncertainty. As we journey through life, most of us are taught that control is the key to success. From a young age, we are told that if we can manage every aspect of our lives, if we can plan each step, control the outcome of every situation, and predict what will happen next, then peace will naturally follow. Control feels like safety. It gives us a sense of power, a sense that we can protect ourselves from the unpredictable nature of life. It offers us the illusion that if we can simply handle everything, we'll be able to avoid chaos and therefore we'll find peace. But what if true peace doesn't come from controlling everything around you, but from surrendering to life's natural flow? What if peace is not about gripping tightly to every moment, but about letting go and trusting that everything will unfold as it should? This is a deeply transformative concept, especially in a world that places so much value on certainty, control, and predictability. We are taught to always have a plan, to be in charge, to know what's coming next. But in the teachings of Buddhism, one of the most profound truths is that the more tightly we grip control, the more we resist the natural flow of life, and the more stress, anxiety, and discomfort we create. True strength is found in faith in the ability to trust that life will unfold as it is meant to, even when we don't know exactly what that path will look like. To illustrate this, let me share a Zen story that beautifully demonstrates the delicate dance between control and faith. A young disciple approached his master weighed down by the struggle of trying to keep everything in order. "Master, I work so hard every day. I try to control my actions. I try to push myself to be the best. But no matter how hard I try, I feel like I'm always striving and never arriving. I feel as though I am forcing my life to be something it's not. What am I doing wrong?" The master, without saying a word, motioned for the disciple to follow him. They walked together to the temple garden, where the soft wind swayed the trees and the flowers bloomed under the warm sun. The master stopped beside a bamboo stalk and pointed to it, saying, "Look at the bamboo." The disciple, confused, asked, "Master, what does the bamboo have to do with my question?" The master smiled kindly. "Watch the bamboo. When the wind blows, the bamboo bends and sways. It doesn't fight the wind. It doesn't resist. It simply moves with the flow of the air. The bamboo trusts that the wind will pass and that the sun will shine again. And when the storm is past, the bamboo stands tall once more." The disciple stared at the bamboo, trying to absorb the lesson. The master continued, "You too must learn to bend and sway with life. You must stop trying to control every moment. Stop forcing things to happen the way you think they should. Trust that life will unfold as it is meant to. Just like the bamboo, you must trust that the storm will pass and that you will emerge stronger in the process." The disciple paused, reflecting deeply on the master's words. He had been trying to control every outcome in his life, fighting against the flow of things, pushing and forcing. But in doing so, he had been resisting life itself. True strength, the master was teaching him, was not in controlling life, but in surrendering to it, trusting its natural rhythms and flowing with it. This is the delicate dance between control and faith. We live in a world that encourages us to take charge, to seize control of our circumstances, to make life bend to our will. But the more we try to control everything, the more we struggle, the more life seems to push back against us. On the other hand, when we allow ourselves to surrender control, when we stop trying to force things to fit into our limited view of what should be, we find that peace follows naturally. Faith is not about passivity or inaction. Faith is the trust that no matter what happens, we will be okay. It is the trust that life, with all of its uncertainties, will guide us to where we need to be, and that even in the hardest moments, we will be supported. It is the trust that we don't have to control everything to find peace. Take a moment now to reflect. How much control do you try to exert over your life? Are you clinging to the need to have every outcome planned, every moment figured out? How much mental and emotional energy do you spend trying to control what's beyond your control? And what would it feel like to trust life? To trust that you don't need to know everything in advance? What would it feel like to let go of the need for certainty and allow life to unfold in its own way? Take a deep breath now, inhaling deeply. Feel the air filling your lungs, nourishing your body. As you exhale, imagine releasing all the tension in your body, especially the tension that comes from trying to control outcomes. Let go of the grip you may have on the future, on the need to control every detail. Feel your body soften. Feel your heart open. In this moment, allow yourself to trust in the flow of life, knowing that you do not have to control everything to find peace. The more you practice this, the more you will notice how life begins to unfold naturally. Opportunities appear when you stop pushing so hard. Solutions come when you stop trying to force them. You begin to flow with life, just like the bamboo sways with the wind. And in doing so, you will find true strength not from control, but from trust. True strength lies in releasing our grip on life and trusting in the unfolding of our journey. Faith in life is the root of peace, and in this faith, we discover the most profound strength of all. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, feel the flow of life moving around you. Trust that whatever comes your way, you will face it with grace and resilience, rooted in the strength that comes from surrendering to the present moment. As we continue on this journey, we will explore how to live fully in the present moment, free from the need to control and free from the fears that keep us trapped. By embracing life as it is, we will open ourselves to the fullness of life's potential. In the whirlwind of our modern goal-driven world, it's easy to get caught in the belief that growth must come from force. We're taught from an early age that success is born of relentless effort, of pushing ourselves past our limits, and of seizing control at every opportunity. We are told that if we simply work hard enough, if we keep struggling and striving, then growth and success will naturally follow. The more effort we invest, the more we expect to gain in return. But what if I told you that true growth doesn't always arise from struggle? What if the key to unlocking your fullest potential is not in forcing things to happen, but in letting go? In Buddhism, one of the most powerful teachings is the importance of surrendering not as an act of weakness, but as a pathway to growth. To surrender doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It means recognizing that some things are beyond our control, and by releasing them, we create the space needed for new growth, new opportunities, and deeper wisdom to emerge. There is a Zen story that perfectly illustrates this profound teaching about the power of letting go. A young disciple had been working tirelessly to improve himself, trying to master every aspect of his practice. He meditated longer, studied harder, and pushed himself to be the best monk he could be. But despite his intense efforts, he began to feel as though he was stuck in a place of stagnation. He was trying so hard, yet it seemed as if he wasn't growing at all. Frustrated, he approached his master and said, "Master, I work so hard, yet I feel like I am getting nowhere. I am pushing myself to the limit, but I am not growing. Why is this?" The master, with a calm and knowing smile, invited the disciple to follow him. They walked together to a quiet part of the monastery's garden, where a tall tree stood, its branches heavy with ripe fruit. The master pointed to the tree and asked, "What do you see?" The young disciple, still puzzled by his own frustrations, replied, "I see a tree with fruit, master." The master smiled gently and asked, "When does the fruit grow?" The disciple thought for a moment and then answered, "The fruit grows when the tree lets go of its blossoms." The master nodded and said, "Exactly. The tree does not cling to its blossoms. It does not try to control the process of growth. When the blossoms fall, the fruit begins to grow. If the tree tried to hold on to its blossoms, the fruit would never come. The tree lets go of what is no longer needed, and in doing so makes space for the fruit to grow." The disciple's heart opened as he understood the profound lesson hidden in the master's words. He had been trying to force his growth, struggling, holding on to old patterns and beliefs that no longer served him. By clinging to these outdated beliefs, he had been preventing new opportunities from blossoming in his life. True growth comes when we let go, when we stop holding on to what no longer serves us and create space for new transformative experiences to emerge. Just like the tree that releases its blossoms when we hold on too tightly to the past or to our own rigid ideas of how things should be, we create resistance. We prevent the new opportunities and wisdom that could be growing in our lives. The key to personal growth is not in pushing harder, but in releasing, in allowing ourselves the freedom to let go of the things that limit us. In your life, think about the things you are holding on to tightly. Are there old beliefs, fears, or habits that you cling to out of familiarity or a sense of security? Perhaps you are afraid to let go of something because it has been a part of your life for so long, even if it no longer serves you. Maybe you're holding on to old ways of thinking, or you're resisting change, fearing that if you release control, you won't be able to move forward. Take a moment to reflect. What are you holding on to that might be preventing you from growing? Is it a fear of failure? A need for approval? An old pattern of behavior that doesn't serve your highest good? What would it feel like if you allowed yourself to simply release it? Now let's take a deep breath together. Inhale slowly, and as you do, imagine letting go of anything that is no longer serving you. Picture the things you've been holding on to, whether consciously or unconsciously, dissolving into the air. As you exhale, feel the release. Feel the weight lift from your shoulders, your chest, your heart. With each exhale, let go of the past, the fears, the doubts, and the old attachments. Make space for the new growth that is waiting to come into your life. Growth happens when we stop forcing things to be the way we think they should be. True growth comes when we allow things to unfold naturally, just as the tree releases its blossoms and makes room for the fruit to grow. When we let go of our resistance, we open ourselves to new possibilities, new opportunities, and new wisdom. We allow life to unfold as it is meant to, and in that process, we begin to bloom in ways we never imagined. Remember this: you do not need to struggle to grow. Growth doesn't always come from pushing harder. Often it comes from letting go of the need to control and forcing things to happen. Letting go of resistance is one of the most powerful things you can do to unlock your true potential. Take another deep breath with me. As you exhale, release any lingering doubts, fears, or attachments that may still be clinging to your heart. Allow the freedom of release to fill your heart with peace and calm. Trust that in this moment you are enough. You don't need to strive. You are already whole. As we continue on this journey, we will explore the power of living fully in the present moment. We'll learn how to let go of the burdens of the past and how embracing the flow of life can help us come closer to our true purpose. Let's take one last deep breath together, and as we exhale, let go even deeper. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the fear of what's next. Allow yourself to simply be. Trust in the process. Trust in the unfolding. Let go and feel the peace that arises from within. Now, as we move forward into the next lesson, we will explore how embracing the uncertainty of life with trust allows us to flow freely and fully with the natural rhythm of existence in a world that relentlessly pushes us to strive harder, push further, and fight for everything we want. The idea of stepping aside can seem counterintuitive, even foreign. We're taught that the more effort we put in, the more we will gain. We're told that success is born of sheer willpower, that to achieve our desires, we must bend life to our will, predict every twist and turn, and control each outcome. The harder we push, the more we feel in control of our lives, and the more confident we are that our efforts will be rewarded. But what if I told you that true peace, true fulfillment isn't found in the constant striving, in the effort to control, or in the need to push harder? What if instead, the key to finding real peace lies in stepping back? What if the most profound growth doesn't come from forcing things to happen, but from learning to step aside and let life flow naturally? In Buddhism, one of the core teachings is the concept of non-interference. Life, much like a river, has a natural flow. It's only when we try to dam that current, when we attempt to control or force life in a direction of our choosing, that we create resistance, friction, and chaos. The truth is simple, yet profoundly transformative. Life works best when we stop trying to control every aspect of it. Instead of striving to make life bend to our will, we are invited to release control, to trust that life will unfold exactly as it should. Let me share a Zen story that beautifully illustrates this balance between control and surrender. Once a Zen master and his disciple were walking together through a forest. They came upon a wide flowing river, its waters rushing and swirling with natural force. As they stood there, the disciple noticed a large boulder lodged in the middle of the river, causing the water to swirl and crash against it. The disciple, eager to fix the situation, turned to his master and said, "Master, look at that boulder. It's blocking the flow of the river. Shouldn't we try to move it so the water can flow smoothly again?" The master, calm and steady as ever, smiled and replied, "No, my young disciple. The boulder is doing exactly what it is meant to do. It is part of the natural flow of the river. The water does not struggle against the rock. It simply moves around it. The river does not try to fight or control the boulder. It simply allows it to be, knowing that it is a part of the river's path. In time, the water will wear the rock down, and eventually the river will find its way." The disciple paused, deeply puzzled by this response. "But Master, shouldn't we help the water flow more smoothly by removing the rock? Isn't that the right thing to do?" The master chuckled softly, his voice steady and wise. "No, my friend. The water is not concerned with removing obstacles. It simply flows around them. When we stop forcing, stop pushing, and stop trying to control every element, we allow the natural flow of life to guide us. The river doesn't fight the rock. It surrenders to it, trusting that in time, it will pass." This simple yet profound story holds a powerful lesson. We cannot control everything in life. There will always be obstacles, challenges, and moments of uncertainty along our path. But rather than fighting against them, rather than constantly struggling to control every situation, we can learn to flow with them. Like the river, we can let go of the need to control, trusting that life's flow will take us exactly where we need to go. Think about the times in your life when you've fought against the current, tried to control every situation, and forced outcomes. How often did this lead to more frustration and resistance? Maybe it was a relationship, a situation at work, or even within yourself, your emotions, your fears, your expectations. The harder you tried to force the outcome, the more stuck you felt. But then when you stopped fighting, when you stepped aside and allowed things to unfold naturally, the solution seemed to come on its own, as though life itself was guiding you. Letting go does not mean giving up or doing nothing. It is about recognizing that we are not in control of every outcome. It's about trusting that the path of life, though uncertain, will unfold in its own time and way. We don't need to fight every obstacle, nor do we need to try to force solutions. When we stop resisting and let life guide us, we open ourselves to the flow of life. And within that flow, we find peace. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. How often do you find yourself fighting against the current, trying to control every detail, striving to make things happen just as you think they should? What would it feel like to trust life a little more, to let go of the need for certainty, and to allow life to take you where it needs to go? Now let's take a deep breath together. Inhale slowly, and as you do, imagine stepping aside. Release the need to control. Feel the resistance you've been holding on to gently begin to soften. As you exhale, feel your body relax, your mind open. You don't need to force things. You can trust that life will unfold just as it should in its own perfect timing. Life is constantly moving, always flowing, always changing. We cannot control the current, and trying to do so only creates more friction. But when we let go, when we release the need to control, we can move with the flow. Just like the river, we can bend and sway with life's obstacles, trusting that like the water, we will eventually find our way. And in that process, we find peace. Remember, peace comes when we stop fighting the flow. When we let go of resistance, life becomes smoother and more effortless. In that space of surrender, we find strength, and in that strength, we discover the profound peace that we have been seeking all along. Take another deep breath with me. With each inhale, feel the current of life moving around you, through you. With each exhale, release the need to control. Let go of the burden of resistance. Trust that the flow of life will carry you to where you need to be, effortlessly and with grace. As we continue this journey together, we will explore how letting go of control and stepping aside opens us up to deeper freedom, joy, and fulfillment. By learning to embrace the flow, we unlock the beauty of life's infinite possibilities. In our lives, we often feel an overwhelming urge to control everything around us, to map out every step of the path, predict every twist and turn, and determine every outcome. We think that by controlling the future, we can protect ourselves, avoid surprises, and ensure everything unfolds according to our desires. We want certainty, stability, and the comfort of knowing that life will align perfectly with our expectations. The more we push, the more we believe we can mold our lives into what we want them to be. And yet, no matter how tightly we grip the reins of our journey, life rarely turns out exactly as we imagine. What if I told you that true peace and fulfillment don't come from that ceaseless push to control every aspect of life? What if the key to finding lasting peace isn't about forcing every outcome to fit our will, but rather trusting the journey, allowing life to unfold as it is meant to, and surrendering to the flow even when we can't see where it's taking us? This notion may feel foreign, especially in a world where we are constantly told to plan, to strive, to succeed. We are encouraged to control, to foresee the future, and to shape our destiny at every step. But the truth is that in Buddhism, One of the most profound teachings revolves around the concept of non-interference, the understanding that life flows naturally, much like a river. When we try to dam that river, when we try to force the current to go in the direction we want, we create resistance. We disrupt the flow. And in doing so, we bring chaos and stress into our lives. Life works best when we stop trying to control every detail. Instead of striving to make life bend to our will, we are invited to let go, to trust that the path will unfold exactly as it is meant to. The journey itself is the teacher, not the destination. Let me share with you a Zen story that illustrates this principle in a deeply moving way. A young disciple approached his Zen master, his heart heavy with doubt. "Master," he said, "I have been working so hard. I meditate, I practice, I push myself, but no matter what I do, I feel like I'm going nowhere. I'm striving with all my might, but I'm not growing. What am I doing wrong?" The master, calm and serene as always, said nothing at first. He simply gestured for the disciple to follow him. Together, they walked deep into the forest, the trees swaying gently with the breeze. After a while, they came to a fork in the path, two trails diverging ahead. The master stopped and pointed at the two paths before them. "Which one shall we take?" the master asked. The disciple, feeling the weight of the decision on his shoulders, stared nervously at both paths. "I don't know, master," he admitted. "I'm afraid of making the wrong choice. How can I know which path to take? I fear I might make a mistake." The master smiled gently, the wisdom in his eyes reflecting years of quiet understanding. "The path you choose is not the most important thing," he said. "What matters is that you walk with an open heart, trusting that the journey will take you exactly where you need to go. Trust that whichever path you choose, it will lead you to where you need to be. The journey itself holds the wisdom, not the destination." The disciple paused, overwhelmed. "But Master," he asked, "how can I be sure that the path I choose is the right one?" The master's smile deepened, his voice steady and knowing. "You will never know for sure," he said, "but that's where trust comes in. You must trust that each step you take will bring you closer to understanding. You must trust that the choices you make will lead you to the next step. And remember, it is not the destination that holds the wisdom, but the journey itself." The disciple stood in silence, his mind racing. He had been so focused on the end result, on reaching the right place, that he had neglected the beauty of the journey. The master's words echoed in his heart. The journey itself is the teacher. The disciple realized that his constant fear of making the wrong choice had kept him paralyzed. Trusting the journey, trusting himself, and embracing each step with faith was the key to peace. This story is simple, yet profound. Trusting the journey is the key to peace. So often, we focus on the destination, on where we want to be, or what we think we should achieve. But peace is not found in the destination. Peace is found in the journey itself, in the present moment, in the act of trusting that wherever we are headed, it's exactly where we need to be. Every step we take, every choice we make, is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to deepen our understanding of life. Now take a moment to reflect on your own life. How often do you try to control the outcome of your journey? Do you find yourself constantly planning, stressing, and worrying about what's next? How much energy do you spend on trying to predict and control things beyond your power? What would it feel like to let go of the need to control the destination and instead trust the journey itself? How would it feel to embrace the unknown with an open heart and trust that life is unfolding perfectly? even when you can't see the whole picture. Take a deep breath now. Inhale slowly, feeling the life-giving air filling your lungs, bringing calm and clarity to your being. As you exhale, imagine stepping forward on your path, trusting that you don't need to know everything right now. Feel the weight of uncertainty begin to lift. Trust that each step will be revealed at the perfect time. Life is never as fixed or predictable as we would like it to be. We cannot control every outcome, nor can we anticipate every event. The beauty of life lies in its unfolding in the mystery of what's to come. The more we trust the journey, the more we will discover that peace, fulfillment, and growth are found along the way, not at the end. Remember, trusting the journey means letting go of the need for control, embracing the uncertainty with faith, and allowing life to unfold as it should. It is not the destination that holds the wisdom. It is the path we walk to get there. Peace is found when we stop fighting the flow of life and trust that whatever comes, we are exactly where we are meant to be. Take another deep breath with me. As you inhale, feel the peace that comes from trusting the path ahead. With each exhale, release any lingering doubts or fears about the future. You are already exactly where you need to be. Trust that life is guiding you. As we continue this journey together, we will explore how embracing trust in the process allows us to open up to freedom, growth, and deeper understanding. By embracing uncertainty and trusting that life will guide us, we will open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that lie ahead. As we come to the close of this journey together, let us pause and take a moment to reflect. Throughout our time, we've explored a path that has been rich with wisdom and insight, a path of surrender, trust, and presence. These teachings have illuminated powerful truths that, when fully embraced, have the potential to transform not just the way we approach life, but the way we experience it moment to moment. We've learned that true strength is not born from control or force, but from surrendering to the natural flow of life. We've discovered that peace is not a far-off destination to reach, but a state of being that is always available to us right here and now. And perhaps most importantly, we've uncovered the truth that the journey itself is the teacher guiding us with every step, teaching us to trust the process, to release our need to control, and to fully inhabit the present moment. As you reflect on these lessons, I want to encourage you to ask yourself, how can you bring this wisdom into your everyday life? How can you begin to let go of the need to control and instead embrace the unfolding of your journey with trust? How can you step aside from the constant push and allow life to move through you as it was always meant to? Every single day, you are presented with opportunities to practice these teachings. Whether you are faced with a challenging moment, a moment of uncertainty, or simply navigating the busyness of daily life, you have the power to choose peace. You have the ability to embrace the unknown with faith and trust, knowing that life is guiding you exactly where you need to go. Take a moment now to reflect on your own journey. Think of something in your life that you've been holding on to tightly, something you've been trying to control. Maybe it's a decision you're grappling with, a relationship, or an outcome you are anxiously awaiting. Now ask yourself, how can you let go of the need to control this situation? What would it feel like to trust the process, to surrender to the flow, even if you cannot yet see the entire path ahead? Remember, in this very moment, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Let's take a deep breath together now. Inhale slowly, feeling the fullness of the present moment. As you breathe in, allow yourself to feel grounded, rooted in the here and now. Hold that breath for just a moment, and as you exhale, release the weight of worry, past regrets, and future anxieties. Let your breath carry them away, leaving you fully present, knowing that this moment is enough. Trust that you are enough. Living with trust, surrender, and presence does not mean you will never face obstacles. It doesn't mean that life will always go the way you want it to. What it does mean is that no matter what challenges arise, you will face them with an open heart and a peaceful mind. Like the river flowing around the boulders in its path, you too can move with life's flow, trusting that in the end, each step you take will bring you closer to your true purpose. As we close this chapter of our journey together, I urge you to carry these teachings with you. Continue to practice surrender. Trust the process. Live fully in the present moment, not waiting for some future event to bring peace, but knowing that peace is already here, right now. Let each moment be an invitation to let go of control, to embrace the natural flow of life, and to trust that all will unfold as it should. Remember, the journey itself is the teacher. It's not about reaching some distant destination, but about living fully in the unfolding path. You are already on the right path, and as you continue walking it step by step, you will find that peace, fulfillment, and growth are not things to strive for. They are things you can cultivate by simply being present, by trusting yourself and the process. Let's take one more deep breath together. Inhale, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for all that you have learned, for the wisdom that has been shared. With each exhale, feel the peace that comes from knowing that you are walking your path exactly as it is meant to be walked. Trust that no matter where this journey leads you, are supported and guided every step of the way. And as you continue forward, may you carry this practice with you, embracing uncertainty, letting go of the need for control, and trusting that in every moment life is unfolding perfectly. Sweet dreams, dear one. You are already enough, just as you are. Trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Sweet dreams,